All right, we're going to keep moving on with our work in the world of counting in our probability class, specifically with permutations today. So here's a challenge problem that I want to give you, and I really encourage you to pause the video and try to figure it out on your own, and then see if you can come back and follow along and see how you did. Okay, so using my kids' stuffed animals again, so from an earlier problem we did, we have 8 stuffed animals. And one of them is a wombat. We worked with that one in an earlier problem. It looks like today we're going to work with the pug as well. So if I line all 8 of them up in a row, what's the probability that the wombat is next to the pug? What's the chance they're kind of buddies next to each other? Okay, so I want to remind you of our probability definition that we've been working with. And it's the number of ways of getting the wombat, which I'll abbreviate as W, wombat next to the pug, and divided by the number of ways of just having no restrictions, just all 8 in a row. Okay, so that denominator is a little bit easier, so why don't we just do that one first, get it out of the way. So there's no restrictions. How many ways can we arrange 8 different things in a line? And that's going to be 8 factorial. By the way, that's also going to be 8 pick 8. Okay, so that should be easy to figure out. 8 factorial or 8 pick 8. Now it's going to get tricky, okay? And there's a little mental trick that I want you to follow here. We want the wombat to be next to the pug as we're thinking about the numerator here. How many ways can the wombat be next to the pug? So let's pretend they're kind of joined together and it's a wombat pug stuffed animal, okay? So let's pretend we have a wombat pug that counts as one animal, okay? And now we need 6 more, okay? Because we've used the wombat, we've used the pug, we have 6 more animals to fill in. So look at what that means. That means we have 7 slots to fill total. And I don't want this to imply that the wombat pug is in the first slot. We could move it to any of the slots, okay? So even if it's in that slot, we still have 6 slots in a row to fill, and we would just sort of skip the wombat pug merged animal, okay? So this turns into, let me get that guy back there. This turns into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 pick 6, okay? But let's actually not think about it that way. Let's think about what this whole thing turns into. It turns into 7 pick 7, okay? So now we have 7 animals to arrange in a row, and one of them just happens to be kind of a double animal. All right? So let's do that, and then there's one more thing. Maybe think about one little thing we're not catching yet here. But we can do 7 pick 7 divided by 8 pick 8. And if you're clever, you can think of some ways to do that in your head right away. But let's just use our calculator. That's 5,040 divided by 40,320. And that reduces down to 1/8. Okay, so there's 1/8, there's 1 in 8 ways for the wombat to be next to the pug. All right, but did you figure out what maybe the gap was that we hadn't solved yet? It doesn't have to be wombat pug. It could be pug wombat. Okay, and so that's going to double the number of total ways that we have, and that would be 2/8 or 1/4. So that's, to my mind, that's a surprisingly high probability. If we just arranged all those animals in a row, there's a 1 in 4 chance that the wombat and pug are touching or next to each other. But just to recap, the trick here is thinking of the pug and wombat as a merged single stuffed animal. That can either be wombat pug or pug wombat in either order. And then we have 7 total animals to work with. All right, that was a tricky one, but that's a good place to stop right there.